So, brothers, today our discussion, and thanks for you to join over here after the prayers. That I want to refer khutbah of Imam Muttaqin Abil Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and that is about these current circumstances and whatever whole world actually they are facing the problem. Everybody has a uncertainty in their life. Problems, troubles, afflictions, they are around. So there is a sermon of Imam alayhi salam, and its source is Khisal of Sheikh Suduq's book. And long before I translated in Urdu and I printed it out in thousands and it was distributed. But that was before 25 years ago, and still circumstances are the same. So this is a pity. So Imam starts from this point, and one important thing is that this portion of sermon is in that very detailed account that in which Imam alayhi salam reported by the scholars that Imam asked his disciples, his students, to sit in the Masjid Kufa, and then the scholars they say that in one sitting Imam alayhi salam opened upon them 400 doors of the knowledge, 400 windows and the doors of the knowledge. Out of those 400 teachings and the doors and the windows of the knowledge, one is this, in which Imam described about the roots of the problems in the human life and how to resolve those problems. He starts from this point: Ittaqu dhunub, O people, be afraid, be away from your sins. Ittaqu dhunub, be afraid from your sins. Fama min nagbatin wala naqsu rizqin illa bidhanbin. Whatever the distress, whatever the disrespect in your life, and whatever you are stumbling down, and naqsu rizqin, and whatever the depreciation of your livelihood, earning capabilities, illa bidhanbin, all those are being caused by your own sins. Your own sins. One thing I will put over here, the first sentence of Imam alayhi salam, that ittaqu dhunub, be afraid, frightened from your sins. Don't be frightened from anything. And psychologists, the researchers nowadays, they are trying to get that kind of the techniques, and the subject is that how to get rid of fear. How to get rid of fear. Psychologists, psychiatrists, and that kind of the scientists, they are trying, and they are writing voluminous books as well, couple of hundred, not thousands of books in the market libraries, that how to get rid of the fear. But still fear is there in human psyche. It is not over there. Why? Because in Surah Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَلَا نَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ. There are other things also. Certainly I am going to examine you, I am going to test you by the fear. Bikhawf. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala incarnated in our very nature the fear, just to test us. So it cannot be uprooted, it cannot be taken out from our psyche and the nature. So how to get rid of the fear? Just to change the direction of the fear. If we are fearful towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing is going to frighten us. And if we are not afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is going to frighten us. Just you have to change the direction of that. That's why once upon a time Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he visited to Kufa, and he was returning back to Medina, and the dignitaries of the Kufa, they were accompanying with him, and they wants to say goodbye, alvida, up to the outskirts of the Kufa. When they approach at a point, and some people, they were in front of the ride of Imam alayhi salam, and there was on the pathway, on the road, there was a line over there. But they were afraid. They stopped. Let's see how Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, how he would react with this. So he was, Imam didn't stop, continued until he reached upon that line. and just Imam grab the ear of the lion and throw him away from his pathway, and ask these people, come closer to me, who they were afraid of the lion. And Imam mentioned that if the people would do worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever the right of the worship is, haqq ibadat, they can make this lion as a cattle, as a animal of their domestic animal as well. So this is the, when fear, so that's why hadith it says also that, or I would summarize that thing, that whoever has the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is frightened from him or her. If someone has no fear in his heart of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is going to frighten him. If he has a fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is going to be afraid from him. And if he has no fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is going to be frightened with everything. Until his own shadows, he is running away. So taqwa, it makes a person as a karrar, and the khawf, it makes a person as a farrar, who is running away. So it was the first sentence. I think, brothers, that I cannot cover whole khutbah in today's, inshallah. Tomorrow's sitting we will cover it also, but two things more. Then Imam mentioned, Fama min nakbatin wala naqsu rizqin illa bi dhanbin. And there is no nakba. Nakba is also in Arabic language a calamity or affliction, and also some distress. Nakba. And naqsu rizqin, whatever you are losing or decaying in your economic situation, that is due to the sin. Then Imam adds, Hatta al-khadasha wal-kabwata wal-musibata. Say salawat. Hatta al-khadasha wal-kabwata wal-musibata. Until whatever a scar, khadash, scar is on your skin. Wal-kabwata, again, you are stumbling down. You are going to on ground due to the stumbling. Al-musibata, and also the pains and the sufferings and the calamities. Illa bimasiyatillah, all those events which they are occurring in your life due to the transgression of the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are transgressing the laws of the Sharia, so that it is happening in your life. Now Imam recites this holy verse of the Surah Shura. وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مِّن مُّصِيبَةٍ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَيَعْفُو عَن كَثِيرٍ. Whatever, a lot of your majority of your pains and the calamities and the suffering and the sorrows, they are due to your own actions, whatever you are earning by yourself. On the contrary, that gracious Lord, Ya'fu an kathir, He is forgiving you a lot. He is omitting a lot. After that much omitting and forgiving and neglecting us, not to be punished, whatever in our life is there, that is due to your own earnings as well. And now there are two sentences more. I will add it over there, and then we will stop at that point. We will continue by tomorrow, inshallah. That mentioned Imam further that Wama zalatin ni'am, whatever you are losing, the ni'mat, bounties, blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fama zalatin ni'am wala nazaratul ash. It is a very, I would call it not in that way a mysterious word, but it's a very pregnant with the meanings. I will translate and I'll explain it. Nazaratul ash. Nazaratul ash, the bitterness of the life. Bitterness of the life. What does it mean? That a person has the luxuries of the life, whatever so-called luxuries of this life, but that person has no happiness inside the heart, no peace inside the heart. Everything you have, your car, your air conditions, your everything, luxuries of the life, but there is no peace inside, comfort of your soul. This is the bitterness of the life. Nazaratul ash, wama zalatin ni'am, whatever the bounties are being loosened or being snatched away from you, and whatever you are feeling bitterness in your life, illa bi dhunubin ijtarahuha. It is due to those sins which we accumulate them, pile up them, ijtarahuha, due to those sins which we pile it up. And also Sayyid Sajjad al-Islam in Sahih Kamila, he used this word again, ijtarahuha, to pile up the sins. So whatever you are losing, continuously you are losing, bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whatever the bitterness in your life, even you have money, currency, bank balance, luxuries of the life, but you don't have the peace of the life. You have not the real happiness of the soul and the life as well. Now Imam recite another ayat of the Surah Hadid. Before I would quote that ayat, I will go back now. Whatever I recited to this point, the sermon of Imam alayhi salam, that whatever the bitterness in your life, it occurred, whatever you lost, the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever the musibat, the calamities, whatever you stumble down upon the earth, whatever the scar upon your skin even, whatever you lose your economic saturation as well, and whatever you got dishonored, you got dishonored by the other people, disrespected by the other people. Now Imam recite that verse of Surah Hadid. Inna Allaha laysa bizallamin lil abid. Whatever is happening in your life, it is through your own work and the sins. Never ever your Lord is going to unjust with you. Sometimes people, they think like that. Why these circumstances around, na'udhu they think about the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam mentioned these events which you are doing with yourself. It is being done by you, to you. Your Lord is never unjust with you. One ayat, and I will close over here. One ayat of the Quran, it says that وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Whatever a well-being, a good thing is happening in your life, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ سَيِّئَةٍ فَمِنْ نَفْسِكَ. And whatever the bad thing is coming to you, it is due to your nafs, due to your own works as well. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun al mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim. Inshallah we'll continue with this.